Learning alone is quite boring. Okay, so uh, it's a third module in get started with Microsoft Fabric. Use Apache Spark in Microsoft Fabric. Apache Spark is a core technology for large-scale data analytics. Fabric provides support for Spark clusters, enable you to analyze and process data in Lakehouse at scale. Basically, something related to processing the data at scale, large data processing. Open source parallel processing framework. It process the things parallel to save the time for large scale processing and analytics, big data processing scenarios. Azure HT Insights, Azure Synapse Analytics, and Fabric. It is used. All right. Ingest, process, and analyze the data in Lakehouse by using Spark. Core technology and code are common to all Spark implementations. Integrated tools and ability to work with Spark in the same environment as other data services in Fabric make it easier to incorporate Spark-based data processing into your overall data analytics solution. Prepare to use Spark, Apache Spark, distributed data processing framework. Basically, Spark distributes the data across multiple processing nodes in a cluster. Cluster is Spark pool, and nodes are kind of workers or different CPUs to process the large data at scale in parallel to save time. In practice, most workloads are accomplished by using combination of PySpark and Spark SQL. Compute nodes for processing the data, pool, okay, and different nodes. Head node in a Spark pool coordinates the distributed processes through a driver program. Ah, I remember. Okay. So basically, there are two types of nodes. First node is a driver node, head node. It coordinates distributed processes in Spark. We will read it. And then there are many nodes. The pool includes multiple worker nodes on which executor processes perform the actual data processing tasks. Autoscale, Spark pool. Uh, so basically, when you are configuring the Spark settings in for your workspace, you get these options when you are basically defining the new pool. Uh, Node size, enable autoscale. Okay, enable the dynamic allocation and set the number of total nodes and set the number of worker nodes. Worker node, the max of worker node would always be less than uh, one less than the total nodes, because one node is reserved for driver or head node. Basically, we get a starter pool or a default pool in each workspace, and we can change the settings of it or define our own custom pool. It can be disabled by administrators at the capacity level. Okay, let's go back. Okay, at the capacity level, we can either choose to delegate the Spark pool settings at the workspace level or disable it. Node family. Type of virtual machines used for Spark cluster. Mostly memory optimized. Alright. Auto scale. Node size. Minimum configuration of node is 1 in case driver and executor run in a single node. As a workspace admin, we have power to either delegate authority to configure to allow custom configurations at item level. If the settings are turned on, default pool and its compute configurations are used for all environments in the workspace. What is environment? So basically, environment provides us flexible configurations to run notebooks, Spark job definitions, etc. Uh, Basically, in environment, we can configure compute properties, which are number of nodes, etc. And select the runtime versions, set up the library package, and we can reuse those libraries. We don't need to uh, specifically install the libraries each time when we add a new notebook, if they are based on the same environment. High concurrency allowed to share same Spark sessions. An atom-like notebook uses a Spark session for its execution and when enabled, allow users to share a single Spark session across multiple notebooks. So it means we can run multiple notebooks in parallel in the same Spark session. All right. Session sharing is always within a single user boundary. Use multitasking. A single user can switch between notebooks and continue their work without experiencing any delays during due to Spark session creation or initialization. Allow user to achieve better resource utilization and cost saving for their how how better cost savings. Sessions should have same default lake house configurations. Important point to note. Oh, how it saves the cost. Let's read it. Only the initiating session that starts the shared Spark application is built. All subsequent sessions share the same Spark session, do not incur additional billing. Mhm. Use for notebook 1 which initiates Spark session at high concurrency mode. Alright, same session is shared by all of these notebooks. In this case, notebook 1 will be built for the Spark compute usage. Oh wow, shared notebooks will not be built individually. Only the notebook or activity that initiates the Spark session is charged. Only first one is charged. If the first one is charged, then So these are the max node limits for the starter pools based on fabric SKUs. F2 2 capacity units per second, I think. This is what it means. Spark V cores for it just multiplies. Alright. Oh, now we have F64, then trial capacity. Okay, these are F64, F128, F256, F2000. Node sizes are mediums. Default max node 1, 1, 1. For F8s, these are 2, F16 3, F32 8, and F64 10, and F128 10. Default maximum nodes. Okay, and the maximum number of nodes are 1112. So max number of nodes are basically 10. Things to remember for exam. 1112 2, F64 4, F32 8. It divides by 4. 4 divided by 4 1. 4 8 divided by 4 2. 16 divided by 4 4. 32 divided by 4 8. 64 divided by 4 16. 128 divided by 4 32. And 128 then 200. So basically the formula is uh, your capacity, your fabric capacity SKUs divided by 4 to get the max number of nodes. Mainly people use F32 or F64 816. All right, and divided by 4. Uh-huh. F4 32 8 16 32 56. From the following different node sizes, what it is actually. Okay, node size. Small node means it will compute units for. Medium medium would consume 8 compute units, and memory would be 64. 8 64 432. New kind of multiplication table. 864 864. What are runtime and environments? Spark open source ecosystem provide multiple versions of Spark runtime, which determine the version of Apache Spark, Delta Lake, Python, and other software components that are installed. Whatever the task you need to perform, there is probably a library to help in the PySpark. Okay, organizations can have multi environments with different runtime versions as well as Libraries that must be installed to perform specific operations. Data engineers and scientists can then select which environment they want to use with the Spark pool for a particular task. So, in simple terms, uh, environments determine the kind of they are just a portfolio of Python libraries. You can choose which portfolio you need to use for your notebook. First you will define the environments, and then for the notebook you will select the specific environment based on your usage. Major components in Fabric runtime: Apache Spark, Delta Lake, native execution engine, default packages for languages, programming languages, and it's built upon a robust open source operating system. Native execution engine for Fabric Spark. It does not support user defined functions. These are three versions of the runtime. These scripts would be impacted by different runtime variants. Alter table, load data, show create. In the latest variants, default table format is delta. Previously it was parquet. Starter pool is a quick way to use pre-configured Spark, while Spark pool offers customization and flexibility. Alright. All the libraries are pre-configured, that's why. This process can take 30 seconds to 5 minutes to your startup time depending on number and size of your library dependencies if you have custom libraries installed. Region start might be temporarily exhausted due to high traffic. Start to accommodate your well, which takes about 2 to 5 minutes. Default node library is 5 to 10 seconds. If library dependencies, then 30 seconds to 5 minutes for library setup. High traffic, no libraries, 2 to 5 minutes. Mhm. Network security, private links, VNet. If there is some kind of network security, then it will take 2 to 5 minutes. Okay. Networking security features. When your network workspace has networking features such as tenant, private links, or managed VNets, starter pools aren't supported. Fabric must create a cluster on demand, which adds 2 to 5 minutes. Alright. Spark pool is basically a way of telling Spark kind of resources you need for your data analytics tasks. How large the nodes are, how to adjust the number of nodes depending on how much work you have. Creating a Spark pool is free. You only pay when you run Spark job. And Spark sets up nodes for you. By paying, they mean CPU consumption. For 2 minutes after your session expires, Spark pool will be delocated. Default expiry period is 20 minutes. And default session expiry time is 20 minutes and uh, after your session. So default Spark pool expiry time would be 22 minutes. Okay, formula is in Apache Spark, users get 2 Apache Spark vCores for every capacity unit they reserve as the part of their SKUs. So one capacity unit 2 Spark vCores, so F64, 128 Spark vCores, on which a 3x burst multiplier is applied, which gives you total of 384 vCores. And what's the purpose of vCore? Creating not billable, starting not billable, running would be billable, stopping is billable, delocating not billable. All right. So for x f64, if if the node size is medium, uh, v cores would be 3 to 4. Max number of nodes would be 64 divided by 4 is equal to 16. 16 multiplied by 3, 48. vcore defines how many CPUs used to process your job, how fast job can be executed, and how much it cost. Uh, it would be vcores multiplied by that time. So pool is a container for Spark resources. vcores, they are basically virtual CPUs need to process your Spark job. More vcores, faster processing, faster performance, and more cost. Nodes nodes are basically number of CPUs. I think yes. Each node use vcores plus memory to run the task. So what's the memory then? Sparkle Kitchen, vcores are number of chefs. Nodes are stations like baking, frying, boiling. Spark job, cooking a dish, more chefs, faster cooking. Alright. Each V core has some kind of RAM, 4 to 8 GB RAM. Max executor nodes are assigned V cores minus 4 divided by 4. Total V cores are driver cores 4 plus executor cores 4 per node. Memory allocation. Mhm. Okay. Uh, to understand the memory, medium has 64 GB memory. Medium V core. Medium node. A medium node has 4 V cores and it has 32 GB. 32 GB and typically so 8 GB of memory. 8 GB of memory per V core. 8 GB of memory per V core. Alright. 8 GB of memory per V core. What if max number of cores are 64? Formula was okay, multiply by 3. So the one capacity unit says 2 spark V cores. 3x burst multiplier, but Fabric can temporarily use it, not always. Bursting depends on available capacity in your fabric region. Okay, here we were. Manage resources in environment. Save and publish changes. Done. Sharing an existing environment. Okay, we can share the environment as a fabric item. Okay. Inside the notebook, if multiple environments are defined, we can change them inside the notebook. If you switch to different environment during an active session, the newly selected environment does not take effect until the next session. Same. If you attach environment to another workspace, both workspaces must have same capacity and network security settings. Default to the settings of your current workspace. Okay. Ah. Both workspaces must be on the same fabric capacity and network security settings would be same for both of the workspaces. And moreover, uh, the your pool settings and the configurations uh, and other configurations would be default to the target workspace if you attach environment from another workspace. So workspace will be basically role of the workspaces would be to hold the libraries only. Yeah, done. Additional Spark configuration options. Um, Native execution engine. It can significantly improve the performance of queries when working with large datasets in Parquet or Delta formats. MLflow is an open source library that is used in the data science workloads to manage machine learning training and model develop deployment. Key capability of ML flow is ability to log model training and management operations. By default, Fabric use mflow to explicitly log machine learning experiment activity without requiring data scientists to include explicit code to do so. We can also disable the functionality. Okay, by default, Fabric use MLflow library to log machine learning experiment activities for the data scientists. Let's run the Spark code. You can use notebooks or define the Spark job in the notebooks. They're basically like Jupyter notebooks or any other notebook. If you want to use Spark as an ETL process as a part of automated process, you can define Spark job to run script on demand or based on the schedule. It's basically like Windows task scheduler. Task scheduler, okay. We have task schedulers, it's a script scheduler. Mhm. Resilient distribution dataset or DD is a data structure which Spark use. Data frame. Okay, so Spark data frames are similar to the Pandas data frames, but optimized to work in Spark distributed processing environment. Spark distributed processing environment means when Spark works with multiple nodes and distribute its task to multiple nodes. So data frame is optimized for that, and this data frame is from the Spark SQL library. Data structure is structure. What is this? Natively, it use RDD, but in Fabric, it use Spark SQL data frame. Okay, so that's how we write spark. Double percentage sign, then PySpark. Df is equal to spark dot read dot load. Then file path, format, and other settings. Displays. This command is similar to normal Python. Right. Is called a magic. It tells Spark to use which language. If you write only Spark, Scala, PySpark, you will use PySpark and SQL. If you will type SQL, then you will be using uh, Spark SQL. Spark.read.format. Spark.read.load. Similar. It's similar. Just different way of writing. Uh, Scala and okay. Scala use dot format and it use dot load. Define the structure. Schema is basically structure. Alright. Schema of the table. So these are chain methods. Chain method means in a single line you would be using multiple transformation steps. Select, then dot where. Right. It's a chain method. Group by and then count. Pikes dot write dot mode. So how you read is spark dot read dot load. Spark dot read dot load and how to write spark as there is no spark. Data frame dot write dot mention the mode which is overwrite and parquet format the path. So by partitioning, performance gains can be achieved when filtering data inquiries by eliminating unnecessary disk IO. Uh, s- it's an optimization technique enables Spark to maximize performance across the worker nodes. One worker node is working on one partition, another worker node would be working on another partition. Dot write dot first partition it, then specify the mode whether to overwrite it. Okay, right. First partition by because it's a transformation operation. Then uh, specify the mode and then the path. It creates a folder named Pike Data that contains the following subfolders. Multiple categories. Okay. Uh, if we will specify the partition, then the folder will contain multiple subfolders based on the categories which our data have. Column is equals to value format. Hierarchy of folders if we will partition the data by multiple columns. But it will negatively impact the performance if we will have multiple hierarchies, multiple partitions, like so many partitions. See, it has specified the subfolder based on the category while reading the stored data. It would not include a category column. category for all rows would be road bike. So partitioning columns are omitted when you are reading the partition data in the output. Work with data using Spark SQL. We have worked with the data in Spark data frame, Spark code. Previously, we were working with PySpark. df dot create or replace temp view. Right. So Spark dot catalog dot create table for creating a table, an empty table, and Spark dot catalog dot create external table for creating some external tables. They define metadata in the catalog, but their underlying data comes from external storage location. Oh, folder. So deleting an external table does not delete its underlying data, but deleting managed table will delete underlying data. Difference between Delta versus Parquet tables in Fabric Lakehouse. Delta table supports async transactions. Version think text schema. For the Delta Lakes ETL pipelines OCD CDC means some the tables which are changing. Raw data ingestions read only at archives. Supported but limited. Delta means based on Parquet plus the transaction log. Okay, for using PySpark, sorry, Spark SQL, following you can use Spark SQL API in code written in any language to query data in catalog. In PySpark, we will use SQL query. And how to use SQL query for using Spark SQL? Uh, Use this command spark.sql for using Spark SQL API inside PySpark. So inside the notebook, if we will use double percentage SQL magic SQL command to run SQL code, we can write SQL queries. Two ways. First is spark.sql inside PySpark. Second way, use this magic command. So code example runs a result set. It will return a result set that is automatically displayed in the notebook as a table. Uh, okay. There's nothing important. Visualize data in Spark Notebook. Let's see how can we visualize. Okay, if we have a table, a data frame, as the result of the notebook command, we can automatically create the charts inside the notebook. This is the option table and then chart. You can automatically create the chart settings, type of the chart, category. You can, sorry, title, subtitle. X, Y axis aggregation, right? Series group, I think it's legend. Matplot library. So in Python, most of the packages are built on the base matplotlib library. From matplotlib, import pyplot as plt. Matplotlib import pyplot. So first, get the data as pandas data frame. Notice they are using backslash in Spark.sql. Yeah, not this thing. Clear the plot area. Pixels 12 by 8. plt.bar axis is height. Uh, height means y-axis. Color is orange. Then elements of the chart. plt.show. Matplot library required data to be in pandas data frame rather than Spark data frame. So we have used two pandas. They've used two pandas to convert default Spark data frame to pandas for Matplotlib library. Matplot, iplot, Seaborn. Create a workspace, lakehouse, upload the files. Create a new notebook. This is the data wrangler, kind of a graphical ETL tool inside the notebook. Connect the session. You can connect the session from here. You can change the language from here. PySpark, uh, Python. Okay, PySpark, Python, normal Python, I think PySQL. Yes, and there is another language. I think Scala. Uh, Data sources are added. You can add the data source from here. Uh, Add the lakehouse, connect the lakehouse through here. Manage the settings for this notebook. There are types of cells, markdown and code cells. Cells are are normal text cells. Use the M button to convert any cell in to this M button. This M button to convert any cell into a markdown cell. From here, you can switch the modes, edit mode, develop mode, whatever. Sorry, no, nothing. This edit means something else. So it includes Scala or Spark SQL, Python, and PySpark. From here, uh, you can add the data items, select the workspace. From here, you will see the items in the workspace, including your lakehouse and the notebooks. Workspace from the reference select. Okay, they are teaching us to how to uh, add the notebook from the lakehouse. First read the data, then they're using PySpark .sql types. You type by this code, they're explicitly defining the schema of the table. Dot schema, order schema. Structure type, put it in an array. So previously these were the column names. Now these are the column names. Why? Because data frame identifies the first row as data. Column header contains the first line of data. To correct this, you need to modify the first line as follows. Where Header is equals to true. Header is equals to false. Uh-huh. By default, header is equals to true, and you need to specify the header is equal to false. Now the data has only the data from 2019. Add a wildcard. We can add wildcard in the file path. But in this, right? Schema dot load. Okay. For all of the files. We have filtered the data frame to only two columns. Print the count of the customers. Print the count of this data frame. Then distinct count of this data frame, and then display customers dot distinct values. Okay, two ways of outputting subset of a data frame. One is by using square brackets, and second way is to use select statement. Select command function, whatever it is. Function. If you use select, then you can use chain functions. So that output of one function becomes the input of the next function. This is what chain function is. Select method is the source data frame for the where. So the library they use is PySpark.sql.functions. Statement enables us to use Spark SQL library, and to use Spark SQL library, we will use PySpark dot SQL dot function. So in the in the PySpark library, PySpark means Python Spark. If we want to use SQL, if we want to connect it to the SQL API, we need to use .sql functions. With, with column is used to add a new column or modify an existing column in data frame. With column creates a new data frame each time Spark is immutable. Avoid chaining it too many times because it will create new data frame every time you select instead. The files in the orders in the I'm sorry in the transformed data
folder in the orders. They have saved the data as a Parquet format in the Parquet format. This is how data saved in partition looks like. Partition data year this month this and then year this. Inside this subfolder there will be more folders, more subfolders of month. So for year 2021, load all of the months. For loading all of the months, use the wildcard. There is a lot of use of wildcard in the file path. Command will create a delta table inside the lakehouse. So describe extended command is used in Spark SQL to show the metadata properties of the table. Column names, column types, file path, database, location, format, etc. Yes, just notice that if you run the SQL command, it is taking so it is not referencing to the data frame, the PySpark data frame. It is referencing directly to the table name, delta table name. For for matplotlib import matplot from matplot import pyplot. Add a new code. SQL query is equals to, this is a variable spark.sql. Put this SQL query inside it. Or dot show. First convert the data frame, two pandas, data frame, two pandas, then make a chart. Create a figure explicitly. Deter- Determine the figure size. So for clearing the plot area in both libraries, they have used plt.clf. .clf command function. .clf. select filter. We use it in dark. A filter is basically to filter the rows, not the columns. Um, a new data frame. Here. Let's do it again.